What's up, Chuckers? Producer Mike here, and this is my last day of spring break, so I'm coming to you from a room to be undisclosed. But before we get into this week's 5-setter, please be sure to hit subscribe, follow us on YouTube, do all the things that it takes to stay up on what we are dropping for you here on Served. We really appreciate the love and support. That said, today is March 20th, 2026, and here's what we got for you. Meddy versus United Airlines, Sabalenka's Entourage, $100 hot dog, and the WTA gets serious about privacy. But first, we are kicking things off in Miami, where the second leg of the Sunshine Double is officially underway. Coco Gauff is back on home soil after a scary moment at Indian Wells. During her third-round match against Alex Ayala, Gauff experienced sharp pain in her left arm, describing it as feeling like a firework was going off inside of my arm. She was forced to retire trailing 6-2, 2-0, just the second retirement of her entire career. The MRI confirmed that it is nerve-related, and Gauff joked about the experience of being inside the MRI machine for the first time, saying it felt like being in a coffin. Coco also had some good news during her presser at the Miami Open, saying the pain is getting better every day and she is feeling optimistic heading into her opening match. In 6 previous appearances at the Miami Open, Gauff has never made it past the 4th round. We're hoping for a full recovery to give her a shot at a hometown title. Now on to set number 2, where we have a double dip of Sunshine Double second leg travel stories. First up, Daniil Medvedev. Meddy had another travel issue this week, albeit a much less serious and tense one. If you want more backstory, watch our episode on his experience trying to leave the UAE after winning in Dubai. Link in the description. Now, his latest travel obstacle. Following the Indian Wells final loss to Jannik Sinner, Medvedev arrived safely in Miami, but minus his bags. So what did Meddy do? Naturally, he took to social media to tag United Airlines directly, writing Tuesday morning, "Hi at United, need a little help. Flew from PSP to Florida yesterday and none of my bags arrived. Kind of need them to play the at Miami Open. Can you help?" United responded within an hour with what looks to be a fairly standard bot response. Luckily, the bags appeared to have not been very far, with Meddy tweeting Tuesday evening that he had received his bags. Now, on the other end of the Miami Open arrival spectrum, we have Aryna Sabalenka. The world number 1 just rolled into South Florida fresh off an Indian Wells victory, beating Alina Rybakina in a dramatic 3-set final. In an interview leading up to the Miami Open, Sabalenka was asked to list her team. In her words, she said, quote, "I have a huge team, but I feel like to be that consistent and to be that successful, you need a lot of people around you." Well, what is a huge team and what is considered a lot of people? Well, Sabalenka listed them. 2 coaches, a fitness coach, a hitting partner, a manager, agents, a statistics guy, a physio, a stringer, a chef at some tournaments, her fiance, and of course, her new puppy named Ash, who she has designated as her official mental health support and mental coach. Say what you want, the results speak for themselves, but the Serve team was wondering, when is a dog groomer officially going to be added as well? All right, set number 3 keeps us at the Miami Open. As tournament director James Blake told us this week on Q&A, the Miami Open is always trying new things, and this year is no exception. On the food side, they are debuting a Golden Glizzy, a $100 hot dog made of Australian Wagyu, wedged in a croissant bun covered in an entire tin of golden goat caviar and 24-karat gold flakes. On the drink side, they're rolling out the Love All Frosé, a frozen rosé in a tennis ball-shaped collectible cup that is already apparently going viral. A sweet drink that is very clearly inspired by the personalities of our own Love All duo, Kim Clijsters and Blair Henley. But here's the real headline when it comes to new additions. For the first time, the Miami Open will host a sanctioned ITF wheelchair tennis tournament, meaning players will be competing for official ranking points. The tournament runs March 25th through the 27th and features a field of 8 men and 8 women and doubles play. If you have a chance to go check it out, one name you will need to know is 19-year-old Takito Oda. The Japanese phenom is current world number 1 and has already completed the career Grand Slam. And if that is not impressive enough, just a few weeks ago, Takito won his 2nd Australian Open title, becoming the youngest man in history to hold all 4 Grand Slam titles simultaneously across any format of professional tennis. Just an insane achievement considering he's not even old enough to drink the Love All Frosé. So if you're on site, grab a glizzy, pick up a Love All Frosé, and go check out Takito and the other exceptional wheelchair athletes. Now on to set number 4, which takes us to a conversation that has been building for months now. Remember during the Australian Open when Coco Gauff was caught on camera smashing her racket in a corridor after a tough loss? She thought she was in a private area. She was not. Behind the scenes, cameras captured the whole thing and it went viral. Players were not happy. Top players publicly called for more privacy, with some describing the Australian Open setup as feeling like a reality show. Well, it looks like the WTA heard them, with CEO Portia Archer addressing the situation at an event in New York, saying, "I think that is something that should be provided to players across all of their events, whether they are WTA events or whether they are other events. I think it's a really clear line, actually, and something that's quite easy to fix. The message is clear. There needs to be sacred spaces where players can decompress, prepare, and yes, even break a racket without worrying about a camera capturing every moment. It will be interesting to see how the tours and Grand Slams navigate this going forward. Players clearly want boundaries, and the WTA is backing them up. We'll be keeping an eye on how this develops heading into the clay season and the French Open." Now for our final set, team nominations have just been announced for the forthcoming Billie Jean King Cup qualifiers, and there are some big names. Defending champions Italy will be led by Olympic doubles gold medalist and 2-time Grand Slam finalist and favorite of the show, Yasmin Paolini, as they go for a three-peat. Other notable names in the draw: Alina Svitolina will lead Ukraine against Poland. Bianca Andreescu and Victoria Mboko will headline Canada against a Kazakhstan team that will be minus Alina Rybakina. Belinda Bencic will return for Switzerland against a Czech Republic team featuring Linda Noskova. And for Team USA, they are sending 18-year-old Iva Jovic, the youngest player in the WTA Top 20, to make her BJK Cup debut. The Americans will be captained by none other than Lindsay Davenport as they head into the matchup against Belgium. A record 148 nations are entering the competition this year that begins on April 10th. And that leads us to our tiebreak trivia. And this week's question is, who is the youngest player to make a Fed Cup or BJK Cup debut? Sign up for the 5-Setter newsletter to find the answer. And while you're there, check out the headlines that didn't make the show this week, including Novak Djokovic's withdrawal from the Miami Open with a shoulder injury, Taylor Fritz is weighing a break from tennis to heal knee tendonitis, and a recently banned player's allegation against the ITIA. For the full breakdown, head to servepodcast.com or find us on Substack. Hit subscribe on YouTube and follow us on your favorite podcast platform. A big thanks to the team for pulling this together while I am finishing up a little vacation. This has been a Served Media production. See you chuckers on Tuesday.